Hi everyone and welcome back to SwitchUp, and to the video where we look at games we probably shouldn't add to our backlog, but there's something, isn't there? There's that feeling. Is it that we just want to hear the weird little jingle that the eShop makes when we make a purchase? Or is it what my wife always says when she comes home with a load of shopping bags that she's spending to save? Well, whatever you do, make sure you save 10% using code SwitchUp to buy your eShop vouchers from switchup.gg. That's in the EU and the US regions, and I've been back on their case about Canada and the Americas in this last week. We had a meeting a couple of days ago, so hopefully that'll come through soon. My name's Mark Walker. Welcome back to the channel. Will I make comparisons to certain food products we eat here in the UK? I can't promise I won't. And what are the best games on sale? Well, let's find out. Before we do anything else, if you do enjoy these videos, let us know by tickling some of the buttons. And if you're one of our members, please do use the little emojis that you've got, just because I want to show my brother, because he designed them, and yeah, I think they look pretty cool. I think this is one of the best sales we've had in the last, well, probably 6 months. And first up, we've got Darksider's Genesis. This is currently just £10.49. That's a 70% discount. And it totally got, I don't know, it just got swallowed up, I think, by the launch of Diablo 3. But it's actually a very good top-down action adventure, I guess you could call it, and it features a co-op mode for 2 players on one console. It's got local wireless, so you can join consoles together, or there's 2-player online as well. If you're familiar with the Darksider's storylines, then many of the characters and the overall settings will be familiar to you. Then on to the exceptional Death's Door, which we've got a full review of if you want to go check that out. I'll pop a link in the description. And this is an isometric Souls-like adventure, but don't be put off by the word Souls. This is not the hardest of all Souls-like titles. The combat's actually quite quick and responsive. You play as a crow who, if I'm not mistaken, is carrying a rather large red sword on their back, and you also have some ranged abilities to mix up the combat and make it, I think, a little bit more accessible. There are large bosses to fight, including what essentially looks like Buckingham Palace come to life, and it's excellently atmospheric with great music. This one's published by Devolver and developed by Acid Nerve. 2.7 gigs and is on sale until November the 1st, so you've only got a day or two if you're interested in this one. I've had the Hot Wheels game on my Nintendo Switch since it came out, and honestly I just haven't bothered really playing it. But then I'd heard a few good things about it, and I do have a 6-year-old kid, so, well, we can see where that went. It's developed by Milestone and also published by them, and they've actually done a great job. It's a really enjoyable single or multiplayer racing experience that obviously takes the Hot Wheels franchise and turns it into a really competitive little game. It is quite challenging, there's no two ways about it. It's a tricky old one, and if you're playing online you will get demolished as well, or unless you're a lot better than I am. As you'd expect, it's Hot Wheels, so there are a ton of DLCs and things you can go for, but you really don't have to. And those online races are, yeah, really quite fun. Now it's 7.9 gigs, and this sale goes on quite a lot longer, until November the 10th, 70% off. Then there's Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Night, which was developed by Livewire and AdGlobe and published by Binary Haze Interactive. I was surprised more people didn't review this one. I absolutely loved it. It's pretty much everything I like in a game. It has some Souls-like, a bit of Metroidvania, and a really quite cool story. It's a dark fantasy 2D action RPG, and the entire kingdom is under havoc really from what's known as the Reign of Death. It's crammed with decent combat, a really interesting system where your guardian essentially acts as another weapon and fights for you, and a good sprinkling of frustration when you die and have to go back and try again. If you're a fan of something like Death's Gambit Afterlife, I think this one will really click with you. But it's another one we do have a fully detailed review if you want to go and check that out. It's a download of just 1.9 gigs, and that sale goes on until November the 8th. This is the cheapest it's ever been. Then Then we've got our hidden gem of the week, right in the middle this time, and possibly one of the most creative adventure puzzle games I've ever played. It's Return of the Obra Dinn, and honestly, if I hadn't watched a review of it myself before buying it, I just never would have bothered. It's absolutely incredible. You're essentially hired to go on board this ship where everyone's died and you need to work out what's happened. This is one of those games where having a notepad, a piece of like a pen and paper, really does help, because you'll watch reenactments, like flashbacks of memories of these different murders, but you can move freely around them. And then it really is up to you to decide who did what. You have a log of everyone that was on board the ship and you gradually decide, you know, who was here when they died, who was this person that just got shot with a cannonball, all sorts. And it's all tied together with an incredible soundtrack as well. It's one of those where you can just listen to the music and it's quite haunting as well. Now this sale goes on until November the 1st again, so sorry if you come after November the 1st, it will have already ended. Currently half price is Bugsnax, which I'm sure I had on my Xbox. Was it Xbox first? But it's on the Nintendo Switch and it's developed by Young Horses and it's its cheapest ever price at just £9.50. Now, although I would say that this would be a great kids pick, it's not just a kids game. Everything takes place on Snacktooth Island, which is of course the home of the Bugsnax creatures. You're invited to the island, but unfortunately your host has gone missing and, well, that's where your adventure begins. It's very cool. Some of the mechanics are a little bit formulaic, I guess. They're a little bit samey. And it certainly borrows a few ideas from things like Pokemon, but it also does a lot that's absolutely nothing like that game. We on the channel reviewed it, we really liked it. I know some others, well, it got slammed in some places, but if you know what you're getting into, I think you'll have a good time. There's nothing that's massively challenging, but it does have a real charm to it. This is just 5.5 gigs, and that sale goes on until November the 9th. One of the quality things about doing a YouTube channel, I guess, is that sometimes you get to play games, well, a lot of the time you get to play games that you never would have. And with the Switch, there are remasters, games that have come from other places that everyone else seems to have played, but I never have. And the wonderful 101 Remastered is a perfect example. Now, it's a Platinum Games action adventure, and it came across to the Switch, and then someone said, hey, can you do a video for us for it? And I was like, okay, well, you know, happy days, two birds with one stone. And I was just surprised how cool it was. You've got these 101 different heroes, and you control all of them. They go around like this big gaggle, like they're on a night out or something, but then they each have different abilities and you can turn the entire mass into different things, like a giant hand or something to push or something to pull. So it has this almost like adventure puzzle element to it alongside that action. It's only Platinum that could make something like that work as well as it does. I really liked Blue Fire. I thought it was excellent. A nice little indie game from developer Roby Studios and published by Graffiti Games. And sure, they definitely took a few ideas from Hollow Knight in terms of, I don't know, some of the characters, some of the ambience, but it's very different. It's a very different game entirely. There are these platforming sections that you can go into. I believe, well, I know there's been some additional content added to this one. A huge free update came out and I'm trying to remember what it actually added. In fact, I might have to add that into an all patched up episode and go back and have a look. But it performed well. There were some great boss fights. There was a decent world that you could move freely through. And I guess it would appeal to fans of Metroidvanias, but also 3D platform adventures. For £7, you can't go too wrong. And there is a physical of this one as well if you're interested. Right, before you get the pitchforks out and run away screaming, I want to tell you about this one. I don't want to tell you to buy it, but I do want to tell you something about it. So Ark Survival Evolved was obviously in a terrible state at launch, like appalling. And if you remember, we did that video of Baldo, which was also not in a great state. To be fair, it wasn't as bad as Ark. But in a similar way as we did with Baldo, we'll actually be revisiting Ark Survival Evolved. I've been speaking to them for the last couple of months because I heard rumours about how much they'd improved the game and they were literally going to relaunch it looking completely different. And my goodness, does it look amazing. Now this footage is from NWR. You can check out the full video on their channel, but I can assure you, compared to what we had at launch, it is night and day. And I cannot wait for the Resurrection of Ark video to drop, which should be in the next week or two, not long. Just one to keep your eye on. although it is currently on sale at 60% off until November the 6th. Last but not least then, another little hidden gem I guess, it's Tribes of Midgard, which I played on Steam, and it's currently half price on the Nintendo Switch, just £7.49, which is a real bargain. And it's a real unusual hybrid. It's not quite a solid RPG, it's not an action game, it's not a sim game, it's like an amalgamation of all of the above. But it can also be played co-op online, and in many ways that's the best way to play it. Don't get me wrong, it's fully single player if you want. It's developed by Norsefell Games and it's published by Gearbox Publishing. You essentially have to defend your village from invaders, and they'll come every night to attack. If I remember correctly, like sometimes you'll be attacked by these giants and things. Now, one area that might put some people off is that the world itself is procedurally generated. So you and your tribe are dropped in with absolutely nothing to your name. You build up your base, you build up your defenses. For an online situation, it's absolutely perfect. Completely different. Maybe you haven't heard of this one. Then consider it. It's just £7, 50% off, and again only until November the 1st, I'm afraid. So if it's Tuesday, you may have missed this one. Okay then, the quick roundup of last week's video in case there are some games that are still on sale. Firstly, you've got The Mummy Demastered, an excellent Metroidvania based on the film that wasn't great. That ends on November the 2nd. Alien Isolation still has a few hours left. A first-person survival horror game that will have you weeping. The Amnesia Collection is 90% off, down to £2.52 until November the 3rd. There's Death Road to Canada, which is 60% off until November the 1st. Absolutely brilliant, one of the best co-op games on Switch. Game Deck, the Definitive Edition, which if you own the base edition is completely free to upgrade to and includes a new story. That's on sale until November the 6th. Vigil, The Longest Night, that ends today. I'm not sure if that will still be going for most of you. Call of Juarez, Gunslinger, 90% off, down to a ludicrous £1.79. Resident Evil 5, which is 50% off until November the 16th. A little bit clunky, Glen and I were playing that on our Friday gaming session, but in co-op split screen it is still fun. And Eldest Souls, which is 60% off until October the 31st, giving you about a day. As far as games that I've been playing so that you don't have to, well honestly this week I've been pretty hooked on the new Tactics Ogre from Square Enix. I'll be releasing a video of that maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, and it's certainly not a game you should be avoiding. So you'll have to let me know down in the comments. And we will be getting some of the joycons, the new ones from Nixie, the ones we promote on the channel from time to time. We're getting quite a few of those to give away in our 12 days of SwitchUp promo that we like to run up to Christmas. So if you're new to the channel or you're not, make sure your notifications and all that jazz are on, and we'll give you a bit more information maybe in a community post about how to go about entering for those. All that's left to say is use the discount SwitchUp over at switchup.gg to save your 10% on your eShop vouchers, and if you enjoy the content, stick around. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it SwitchUp. Now, I tried the nice calm Seeeeeeeeeya, but it's just not me, and it was making me feel quite sad. So hit that mute button quickly. See ya!